The Wolves, Anthony Edwards dropped 43 in Denver as the Wolves snatched game 1 away from the champs. Game 2 is tonight. Here's Ant-Man.
I mean, I lost to these guys last year, and they are the defending champs. They're a hard team to beat. Great team. They got great players. They got the best player in the league with Nikola Jokic. To me, they got the best closer with Jamal Murray, the best three-point shooter with Michael Porter Jr. So it's tough to beat this team. Going against the best player in the world is always fun. Going against the best team in the world is always fun.
No, I like that too.
I gotta just say, I want to interject because I've been saying a lot about Anthony Edwards. I love those answers. That is such mature answers. Saying Jokic is the best player in the league. Like, he's not saying I'm the best player in the league. He's like, yeah, Jokic is the best league, and Jamal Murray is the best closer, and Michael Porter Jr. is like, the best shooter. And like, that is great. That is such maturity that I think if you are a Timberwolves fan and you see that, you have to be thrilled at that answer, because that is showing such maturity, because those are the exact answers that he should give, even if he doesn't believe it, even if he thinks he's the best player, that he's a better closer than Jamal. Like, it's just perfect answer. So that, you have to get excited about that. It may seem like not a big deal, but it really is.
Two-man interviews. Ant's last 3 playoff games were 43, 40, and 36. Are you surprised? Because I don't think you had them in game 1. You had them in the series. So you probably are surprised Minnesota stole game 1. You didn't have them in game 1.
Hey, don't try to steal.
They did not steal game 1. Let's be very, very clear. And again, I'm going to let this clip play. But I hate that question. They did not steal game 1. They won game 1. They are worthy to be there. And I said this before. I was on the fence about, who I thought was going to win. But I absolutely thought that Minnesota can win. And I absolutely believe that Minnesota will win this series. So this idea that they stole game 1, I reject 100%.
Yo, Bruce,
right.
This is unbelievable.
How dare you even ask me this question?
Exactly, bro. Tell him.
I mean, I sat up. I'm one of the few national pundits that had the guts to say that Minnesota would win this series. And a week and a half ago, I was saying, I'm leaning toward the Timberwolves.
It's true.
And then I came. And now you got a lot of people coming out, oh, Minnesota's going to win this series. And I don't want to hear it after game 1.
Agreed, bro.
Minnesota is who I picked. I don't think we picked game 1.
That is correct.
You know what surprised me, though? The fact that when you asked the question, it wasn't bruised Timberwolves. Because I picked the Clippers in one series 6 years ago, and now they're bruised Clippers for life.
They are.
I don't get now. These should be my Timberwolves for the duration of Anthony Edwards' career. How about that? How about that? I mean, that's only fair. Okay. But here's why. Look, Nick, and you notice, I'm not surprised because they have all they need to beat Denver. And I'm not right. Look, the Nuggets are champs. They're going to fight. Mm-hmm. But they've got the size to make it tough on Jokic. And we saw it all night. That surprised me, Nick. Like, Jokic obviously played well, 32, 9, and 8. But, man, he had to work
and another half dozen plus turnover game.
Yeah, 7 turnovers. Every moment he was on the court, I felt like he controlled the game against the Lakers, especially in the second half when it was like winning time. I didn't think he controlled this game at all.
No.
True. Because their size made it tough on him. They got the superstar that can take it over whenever he wants, rise to the occasion. They've got shooting. They were the 3rd best three-point shooting team in the league. They've got good coaching. 2 of their coaches, the 2 head coaches, if you want to count Mike Nori now, were on the Nuggets staff when Jokic was a younger player, so they know him a little bit. So their defense too, and that was the thing that put me over the top with them. Their defense is tenacious, and they can take away Gordon at the dunker spot, which was so effective.
Yeah, and Rudy. So there were a lot of things in this game, and shout out first and foremost, I'm going to give a couple non-player shout outs. Tim Conley, because Tim Conley built the Nuggets and then didn't get to celebrate the championship with them because before last season, Minnesota hired him away. His first big move was the Rudy Gobert trade, panned almost universally by myself as well, by myself included, as I thought it was a massive overpay. I'm sorry?
You were the ringleader of the
I don't know if I was the ringleader of it, but I was certainly, among the
It
chorus.
was a lot of picks.
It was 4 first-round picks.
And Gobert's history.
Right, his history in the playoffs, how last year went for them, all of it looked like it was a disaster. But he was clearly trying to build a team to beat the team he had just built, who he thought could be the team to beat, and then they won the title. Shout out to him. Also, I am not going to watch a series where the Lakers play the Nuggets and talk about mistakes or miscues that I thought Darvin Ham made and not give credit to Chris Finch for instantly having ready for it. You know what? And this was pointed out on Wendy's pod today, so credit to those by Bond Temps. I want to give credit that the most devastating play in basketball this year, one of the very most, has been whenever Jokic brings the ball up the court. They score like a point and a half almost per possession. It was unbelievable. They pressured it. They just the simple adjustment of make him work more. It slows him down, and so they did a lot of things I think are coaching things. Make Jokic defend in the pick and roll, not because he can't defend, but because it wears him down. Make him work if he's going to bring the ball up. That's coaching, and I thought Chris Finch and his staff did a great job. And then of course there's Ant, and what Ant is trying to do here. And I understand there are a lot of these Michael Jordan comps, and that, in my opinion, and I know Ant said today to stop them, I think it's actually unfair to both of them. I think it's unfair to Ant. It's unfair to Jordan because Jordan is Jordan and Ant is just getting started. But it's also unfair to Ant because, in fairness, Jordan was not doing this in the postseason at 22. Jordan didn't win his second playoff game till he was 25. There are not guys that do. LeBron did it. And Durant did it.
So are
in
you
the last
saying
20 years.
It's an insult to
what I'm saying is
because Edwards came, and I'm not trying to just defend Jordan, but I'm saying context. He didn't have an all-star like Karl Anthony Towns, and even Rudy Gobert, four-time defensive. Listen, soon to be four-time.
I'm also not. You're not trying to defend Jordan. Yeah. I'm not trying to take shots. I'm just trying to contextualize that doing even amongst the greatest players ever. Only a very, very short list of the greatest players ever have been the best player on a team that goes on a deep playoff run at this age. Durant did it. LeBron did it. Derrick Rose did it. They're the only guys in the last really 30 years to do it. Kobe was the second best guy. And so what he's doing is spectacular. And yeah, I mean, was I surprised they stole game one? I was, because Denver Wilds, with this starting five in games that nobody leaves with injury, had lost 2 times to a Western Conference team at home ever. Two times ever to a Western Conference team at home.
Oh, with this
starting five.
Because Jamal was out when they beat them last night.
Right, with this starting five, when they're whole, the one was overtime to Phoenix, and one was the Shingun game. That's
okay. So let's talk about this. This is where you can see that Nick comes from a more biased lens, because he's shocked that this happened, but yet he had the Lakers winning, and the Lakers are clearly an inferior team not only to Denver but also to Minnesota, and yet this now surprises him because he said, look, Lakers are going to win this series, these are the reasons why, and by Lakers winning that series, by winning the Denver Nuggets series, they would have to have beaten the Nuggets at home. And so now he's trying to put it on just the coaching, because he's saying Darvin Ham made all these mistakes and yada, yada, yada. Coaching absolutely undeniably matters in basketball. A lot of people think that coaching doesn't matter. Basketball, football, this, that. It's all about the players, all about the players. No, coaching absolutely matters. But the big point that I want to drive home is that it's not the coaching, okay, in this moment. That it is absolutely who the players are on the court. The difference is that LeBron James and AD are either legitimately old, which is just a fact, or an old 30, which is, and injury prone like AD. And that they do not have the stamina and the ability to keep up in a 7-game series and throughout an entire game as a whole. Which is why Nick famously showed the misleading graphic showing that, look, the Lakers are clearly in there with the Denver Nuggets. They're winning by 80% of the game. They have the lead or tied. That shows you that they are good enough. And I said, no. That's just their best effort. Their best effort is LeBron doing everything he can and AD doing everything they can just to kind of like maintain that, but they can't get across the finish line. It's like being able to run a marathon and you're amazing and you're able to beat everyone up until you get to the final few miles and then you just kind of collapse on the floor, then everyone passes you. What good is that? Not to mention those other pieces like the Reeves, D'Angelo Russell are inferior pieces relative to what the Nuggets have. Minnesota does not have that problem. Because Minnesota's main core, their main players, Anthony Edwards, Gobert, and Cat, they are not weak. They are in their prime. Anthony Edwards, it's hard because he's technically not in his prime. I mean, although maybe he's just really entering his prime early, but you typically don't enter your prime when you're 22. But let's just say he is. He's at least in his physical endurance prime, right? Maybe not his skill set prime just yet, because he still has a lot more to learn and to grow. But he has the legs. He can run forever. He has the energy. And I said this last week that, and I said that I think that the Nuggets were going to beat the Lakers. But after watching that series, my conclusion was the Lakers would have won that series if LeBron James was 5 years younger. And I really, really, truly believe that. And the whole thing is right now is the Minnesota Timberwolves have a better team than the Lakers, just direct comparison. And their LeBron James is 15 years younger at this point, right? LeBron is 17 years younger. Okay, so way more than just 5 years. That's the difference. And Cat is more resilient than an AD in this circumstances. And Gobert, like you have the big bodies and you have multiple of them and you have them that can step up in these moments. The Lakers did not have that. And so to me, the Denver Nuggets series against the Lakers didn't show that the Denver Nuggets are so superior, but just that the Denver Nuggets were able to outlast the Lakers, which is a different thing. I thought the Denver Nuggets were better than they were because they definitely have moments where they play absolutely beautiful, pristine, perfect basketball. And it's just like the ball motion, movement, and all of that is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. But when they can't get that going, they're kind of lost. And it reminds me of the Golden State Warriors, where it's like if Steph Curry is and Klay Thompson and they're going a little they're not real hot, they're not draining those half court threes and doing all that type of stuff, the logo threes, the Warriors end up kind of being lost. This was in their prime, when they were truly balling out. It was like the game didn't flow. It was just like like this only works if Steph is making that three, running down the court. Like it only works now if Steph's not shooting well, then this only works if now Klay's able to pick up the slack. And in those moments, and it didn't happen a lot, when they weren't, it was like, there's like no way around it. They can't just body and get points. They can't just feed the ball to Draymond and he's just going to back down and get it. And that's why LeBron James has been able to be so successful. Like the dude can just get to the rim at any given moment and he makes beautiful passing and, can get the rebounds. But he couldn't do that consistently in the run against the Denver Nuggets. Minnesota has that. Minnesota has everything going for them in this series. They're not intimidated by Denver Nuggets. They have their ascending star of Anthony Edwards, who is the perfect size. He is the perfect size in the ability to take over the game. Because as much as a Jokic can take over a game because he's so big and strong, he doesn't have the extreme athleticism as Anthony Edwards. And that matters. There is like a perfect body shape. Like that is why LeBron was so wildly successful. Michael Jordan, like it's just different. So there is no slowing down of an Anthony Edwards. You could potentially slow down a Jokic as shown or just disrupt him a little bit because he can't be dribbling between his legs and doing all the dirty work. He can't run up and down the court nonstop. That's not his body. That's also the same thing that holds back Joel Embiid. It held back even Shaq, right? Shaq needs a Kobe. Shaq needs a Kobe. He needs a Dwayne Wade. He needs it. Steph Curry needs a Draymond Green because he's too small. He can't play lockdown defense against LeBron James, but Draymond Green can. And that's what makes Anthony Edwards such a unique player. And even Cat for that matter. is that they can do things defensively, offensively, get the rebounds, run the court. They can do everything that needs to be done. And they have the stamina to be able to endure all of the hectic moments. Now, the truth is, the way Denver should play this game, if they want to win, is messy, make the game messier. Muddy the game, because that is how you take advantage of the lack of experience, of true championship winning experience of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because there was a point when I saw this game, and this is what the Nuggets do great. They can play, I keep saying it's called organized chaos. They play better organized chaos basketball because they're mature, they've been there, and they know what needs to be done. And if the shot clock is winding down and there's 7 seconds left and Jokic has the ball and he's being double teamed, he's not panicking. He's not like, oh my god, I gotta force a pass, I gotta force a shot. He just still lets the play come to him. And you see Steph do this, KD, LeBron. You see all the greats, and especially the greats who are mature and have success. Anthony Edwards is not there yet, which is okay. He's 22 years old. That's to be expected. Tyrese Maxey saw this in game 2 against the Knicks. Panicked, didn't know what to do. Should have called timeout and said he tried to roll the ball between someone's legs while he was on the ground. Just a bad play. And again, understandable. Same thing. There was a chance for him to tie the game with a buzzer beater. And instead, with literally 1 second to go, he just quickly passed it to Joel Embiid. And now Joel Embiid just has to catch and fire up a shot. A bad play. Anthony Edwards shows some of that. He did it in the game on Saturday. Saturday or Friday, I forget whenever the game was. There was a moment of panic that you could see. It was a small moment, but it was still a moment. Granted, Minnesota really kind of controlled that game, so it wasn't too problematic. And Anthony Edwards is just so amazing. And it's not to say that these players never force up shots, never make mistakes, never do that. But it's just the players who have really been around, who have played long enough, who are in this moment. I've said this a lot, it matters. When you are down by 2 and there's a minute 30 to go, it's very different when you have LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, KD. These guys know exactly what to do. They know exactly what to do. And they're down by 3 and there's a minute 30 and they now go up for a layup or a 3 and they miss. They still know to their core, all right, it's all good. It's all good. We got this. Even though the other team now just got an easy layup and now they're down by 5 and now there's a minute 10 to go, they're still like, it's okay. We got it. I know what to do. I've been here a million times. The younger teams and the younger players, the panic sets in. Again, saw this with Tyrese Maxey and the Sixers and the other players. The panic setting in. And that's what the Knicks were able to separate themselves. They showed way more maturity. DiVincenzo looked way, way older up beyond his years. Same thing with Jalen Brunson, although Brunson is older at this point. So that's what matters. So if I was the Denver Nuggets, I would be trying to make this game real racy, real chaotic, real ugly, because that's how you take advantage of that, lack of true consistent experience of winning at a high level. That's just not what Anthony Edwards has at this point because he's too young. So to me, that's what they do. But I don't think Denver Nuggets are in a position where they can dictate the game because Anthony Edwards is so good. Cat and Gobert are great. And then you still have these other pieces of the Timberwolves that fill in the blanks and great coaching. So they have a great approach. They have the great players. They have a great balance between young 22-year-old as well as now older Gobert and Cat, Gobert's been around the block for a while. Cat's been around the block for a while. They know what they're doing. And you could even see Cat comes running, and this is the maturity. He comes running to Anthony Edwards and is like, hey, we're going to need to play big minutes here. They're going to need us. Like he was showing his leadership and maturity. People love to kind of pull down Cat because he wasn't able to win a championship all by himself 10 years ago and say, well, he's clearly overrated. No. That's what that maturity is. And that's what's so amazing about Anthony Edwards is that he listens to it. He learns, he's actually pretty humble. And being humble really, really matters. Really, really matters. And and I talked about this in a previous video, and it could be a slippery slope because Kobe Bryant admits that he was not humble enough. He regrets how he was when he was younger because he felt, I don't need Shaq. I didn't need Gasol. I don't need this. I'm the guy. I'm the man. And Ant can flirt with that from time to time, just because I think of maybe his trash talking. But at the heart of who Ant is that's not who it is. You could see how he answered the press conference questions. You can see how he interacts with the refs and the other players on his own team, and how he's listening to Cat. You know, he was in the zone, Anthony Edwards, and now Cat comes running up to him and is like, "Yo, youngin, like, hey, they're gonna need us for the long term here. We got to be smart." And he wasn't just like, "Yeah, get away from me." It was you know, it was just like, like he took it. He took what he had to say and listened to it, which really, really matters, which shows just such maturity. So I think Minnesota is in a fantastic place, you know, and I think it is an absolute must win for Denver, because I think Minnesota can absolutely win this series. And if they do, then I think they're going to be going up against OKC. And then, you know, who knows? Because if they beat OKC, then I think that they're winning the championship. I think they beat the Celtics. I think whoever beats the West, whoever wins out the West will beat the Celtics, you know, at this point. I think maybe OKC could lose because they have a little bit less physical players. That, again, what the benefit of Ant is that he is big and strong. And in the playoffs, that really, really, really matters. And we're seeing it play out right before our eyes. It's indisputable. So those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think about that game? Were you surprised that Minnesota stole the game? Do you think that they stole the game? Do you think Anthony Edwards is about to take over the league? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.